Welcome to the Bourbon Friday show, where every Friday we take a quick break, try a new bourbon, and meet someone awesome from the St. Louis startup community. My name's Nick Niehaus, I'm your host, and today I'm interviewing Alon Gilboa, the CEO of Explority. So Alon, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
Of course, yeah. So first of all, just tell us, what is Explority?
Yeah, so Explority is a group experience management platform that helps educators manage out-of-classroom experiences. So what that means is, think of anything from short half-day field trips all the way to longer field trips or group programs that are multi-day or a few weeks even.
Oh, really? Okay,
yeah, so
that long.
Domestic, international, really runs the range of different types of programs.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, so my mom's a teacher. She
Okay.
teaches younger students, right? So I wanted to talk first of all about just the kind of standard field trip scenario, right? So I know that in a lot of cases, traditionally teachers had permission slips and they're collecting money. And I know, my mom has talked about how much of a headache that can be. So how does Explority help simplify some of those basic processes?
Absolutely. So you actually hit on a number of key points that, from the outside, you can sort of imagine that it could be complicated, but from teachers, if you really talk to teachers, they'll tell you that, for even a 3-day trip from St. Louis to Chicago, it could be 60, 70 hours of work. Because the permission forms, they have to make sure that all the payments are turned in. There's all the work with the administration, with their vendor, tour operator, things like that. And really that whole process becomes very, very complicated for even diligent teachers and educators.
Sure.
So Explority is really aimed at streamlining that whole process, starting with what we look at it as 3 main components or branches of how we help these teachers manage group programs. So one of them is the logistics. Mm-hmm. So being able to collect forms, create forms. We have a full form builder on the website that's very, very easy for everyone to use. Being able to collect information, data from students, permission forms, different health forms that parents need to fill out.
Okay.
And then another aspect is also the educational content, right? Because logistics is important, but the real reason that a teacher takes students out on these kind of trips is for the educational component.
Sure,
so,
of course.
So being able to include different documents, being able to include the agenda of what's happening so that students are in the know, but also parents.
Okay, sure.
So there's a whole component where the parents are also sort of plugged in. And then finally, communication. So, along with those things, there's the constant need for keeping people sort of in the know about what's happening before, during, and after. Right now they're using a lot of different tools. A lot of things are sort of scattered and all over the place.
Yeah.
Teachers sort of have to come up with their own solutions. A lot of times it consists of Google Forms, a lot of paper forms, GroupMe or WhatsApp for the communication aspect. And, these things are very problematic. One of our teachers, actually from the St. Louis area, she's a drama teacher at Parkway Central High School, took a group of students from Parkway Central and Parkway West to Chicago this past May, and she was using our platform, Explority.
Okay.
And she said that, in the past it was so complicated for her, even just for the payments, being able to know, before that she knew who turned things in. She had no idea who didn't turn things in.
Oh, okay.
She constantly had to be on top of her Excel spreadsheets, all these email chains.
Yeah.
It's really, really problematic. And she said that for her the biggest thing with using Explority was being able to know who hasn't turned in the information.
Who do you need to put the effort in?
Who do you need to put the effort
chasing?
in? You can actually send messages directly to the students or parents that haven't turned things in, and really makes everything much, much easier for everyone.
Wow, cool. So getting into the nitty gritty just for a second, talking about how this, specifically works. All right. So I'm a teacher. I've got a trip. Let's just use that example. I have a 3-day trip, and I want to use your platform for the first time. What do I need to do? Is it just as simple as I go sign up, and then kind of what happens? What does it look like?
Absolutely. So we've actually designed the platform to be super simple. We know teachers are busy. We know organizers are busy, and basically the way it works is teachers can go on, sign up. It's completely free for teachers and educators. They sign up and they can start creating the agenda of what's happening.
Okay.
They can, start creating all the different aspects of it. We're also building out right now a network for the educators to be able to actually collaborate with other teachers that either they're working with for a specific experience. So, for example, the teacher for Parkway Central was actually organizing the trip with a teacher from Parkway West, so they were able to have the collaboration there.
Oh, wow.
Or also educators from other places, maybe drama teachers from across the Midwest or things like that, and actually being able to have the exchange of itineraries, ideas, but then also be able to connect with different types of vendors, which is a big aspect of our business model. Being able to connect with vendors such as student tour operators that are offering existing types of tour options, or basically go in and type in what they're looking for and then get competing quotes directly to their dashboard. So all these different aspects, really how to get them in, how to get them what they need, and sort of, our mission is to help educators and students get out of the classroom and experience the world. So the more that we can help teachers save time before, during, and after, the more chances that they have to be with students and to really deliver that kind of educational experience.
Well, and I bet if you make it easier too, they're more excited to do more of these kinds of trips and experiences then, right?
Absolutely. And it really when we sort of came across the problems that educators face, if you sort of look at it from a macro level, it's very sort of, like I said before, it's very outdated. We're using a lot of, paper forms and paper checks in 2018. But also, you look at today's teachers, you look at today's parents, a lot of them are millennials, and more of them are becoming millennials. They're more comfortable with technology. They're looking for tools to make their lives easier, to fit in with their, digital workflows and things like that. So, we know that if you give educators and parents as well, and students and all the different stakeholders here that that come together to put this kind of experience together, if you put the right type of product that's easy to use, that's simple, fast, they're going to go for it.
Yeah. Well, I'd imagine you probably pick up people quickly too, because if it works and it saves so much time, they're probably telling all the other teachers in the school, and it's probably spreading to other schools. I mean, are you seeing any of that starting to happen with? I know you said before the show you're kind of in the beta phase at this point,
Exactly. So we're right now in the beta phase. We haven't done too much marketing outside yet, because it was really important for us to make sure that we felt that we found product market fit, as it's called, to make sure that we really understood the needs of our customers, of our users, and make sure we had the right product, right? But now, probably next month, we're looking to really launch and really grow our marketing. And the way we're going to do that is by partnering with different organizations. Some of them are actually the tour operators themselves that already have existing customers. And for them, it's actually a win-win type of situation, because they basically allow their teachers, their customers, to use this product for free. And it makes everything much easier for their customers. So, it really does create like a win-win type of situation.
Yeah, that's awesome. So leads to a good question. How do you guys make money? What's your revenue model?
Yeah, absolutely. So like I said, we don't charge teachers anything. For teachers and educators, it's entirely free.
That's awesome.
And really, we that part of that reasoning is understanding that teachers are so, their budgets are so stretched.
Not a lot of money there.
Not a lot of money. I'm sure your mom can tell you that.
Oh yeah. Paying things out of pocket a lot of times.
Exactly.
Too, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And a lot of these trips are so expensive themselves that adding more to that is not really the way to go. But what we're actually doing is we have quite a number of revenue streams sort of surrounding that. So one of them is the transaction fees from the parents that are paying for the trips, pay directly through the platform. Another is the commission fees, so through the vendors, so student tour operators, like I said earlier. We have a network, creating the network and marketplace where teachers and educators can go and see what the options are, or sort of inquire and see if basically get competing quotes to what they're looking for. And also we have other aspects that we're sort of putting off for now. We really want to be focused, but just to give you an example, creating premium subscription tiers for schools and districts be able to see from an sort of have a bird's eye view of everything that's happening across the district, be able to share forms and different permission things, and be able to have risk management. So we've been talking with a number of different superintendents around the area, but we also, just one more component is a photo book builder. So being able to create outputs from the experience. So afterwards, a big aspect for us is, not just experiencing the group program itself, but then how do you memorialize it for later on?
Sure.
So as the student, gets older and has these experiences, how do you enable them to basically relive that experience later on? So another aspect of that is being able to create these types of photo books or movies that then parents can pay for, and the teacher actually would make money, would make a portion of those proceeds, a percentage of that proceed, to go back to the educator or the school.
Very cool. Yeah, I would imagine there's also a lot of data that you're probably gathering as you bring on more vendors and more students, and you're probably learning a lot about what's the most popular places to go and who does the best tours and all that kind of stuff. I mean,
absolutely.
I'm sure there's some value there as well. Yeah, so cool. So tell me about how do you get started in this kind of business, right? So I mean, obviously, I was mentioning my mom being a teacher. Do you have educators in your family, or how did you end up focusing on the education industry?
Sure. So I mean, education is definitely important in my family. I know in many other families, it's a very important thing. Across many cultures around the world, education is probably priority number one, obviously for parents. And like I said, more and more parents are millennials now, so they understand the value that out of classroom experiences can bring in a number of different facets. It doesn't necessarily even have to be educational, sort of traditional educational, but it could be sports, it could be arts and other things like that. But the way that we actually got to it was myself and my co-founders were organizing a group program of our own a few years ago, and we realized that it was very difficult for us to try to manage all the different aspects of it. And we thought to ourselves, well, we're pretty technical people, and we're having problems with it. Imagine people that aren't technical and are looking to do the same thing. Exactly.
Yeah, sure.
So we started building a platform. We started talking with people that we started looking at a number of different industries and saying, okay, well, where does this kind of thing take place? So we built a platform, and pretty early on, we saw that the biggest demand was actually from teachers and educators, nonprofit organizations that have different types of educational experiences within them. So we, steered our ship in that direction, and got a lot of very enthusiastic feedback and responses from educators, from schools. We're actually in schools. We're in over 75 schools, universities across the country.
Even just in your beta phase?
Exactly.
Wow.
Just because we've had the distribution partners and channels, we're able to sort of reach that even in the beta phase.
Wow.
We have over 10,000 users, and we're growing. So
that's awesome. Yeah. Very cool. So how did we talked about niching down, right? So kind of focusing on education when you'd kind of built this for a wider audience. Why did you decide to do that? So obviously you're getting this feedback, so it's kind of, there's an indicator there, but I mean, I think a lot of small businesses in particular, but also a lot of startups struggle with that idea of choosing a niche because, there's other people that we could be appealing to, right? So what kind of impact did it have when you got really clear about, hey, we're for the education folks?
So that's a very good point. I mean, it is very hard for entrepreneurs, especially first-time entrepreneurs, to understand that. I think that a lot of times what happens is you start out with an idea, and you sort of, a lot of it depends on external factors also. Who are your customers, who are your early users, what's their feedback. It can take you in a number of different directions. Actually, one of my favorite analogies of starting a startup is, imagine you're at base camp and you're trying to climb a mountain. There's a number of different paths you can go down, and you go up one, you can spend a few months going up one path and then realize there's a dead end, and you have to go back down and sort of regroup. So, but also, you don't know what niche, even if you wanted to, you're not really sure what niche, you don't have enough data to really support understanding sort of what niche you're going towards. But we really felt like just with talking with users and understanding that also on a marketing point of view, it's something that you're just not able to have a comprehensive marketing plan if you don't know who your persona is and who you're going after. So all those things put together really have it's funny. It's sort of, they say that having the constraint actually frees you because you are able to be much more creative. You're able to have in product and marketing and a lot of different areas, you're able to connect with people and have them understand what you're building rather than being too broad.
Sure. Kind of a sense of clarity, right? Because you can communicate very clearly with one specific person. We're not as good at talking to crowds, right? Mm-hmm. So having that idea of exactly who that customer is really helps, right?
Definitely, absolutely.
So, all right. So, obviously, you got your beta going. You said you're going to launch officially to the public in the next month or so?
Yeah, the next month.
Okay.
Absolutely. And for us, we really see launching as sort of a more amorphous kind of term because, we've launched from the very beginning. We had customers, we had users. It was really important for us to get the product out the door. And when we say launch, we're really talking about, really investing in marketing, really coming on shows like this and podcasts, and really getting the word out because we know that after speaking with our early customers that we're ready for growth.
Awesome, very cool. So, kind of final question to wrap up this part of the conversation. For both vendors and for teachers, because I'm assuming those are kind of the two people you're looking to sign up, do they both just go to the same website, or how would either of those register with you if they want to be a part of the platform?
Yeah, so vendors, we're doing more right now, in a sales kind of one-on-one relationship. We're not ready to have them sign up directly. Okay. But for educators, absolutely, go to Explority.com. And right on the front page, you can just put in your email address, click sign up for free, and start working with it.
Cool. Pretty easy. So if someone is a vendor, should they email you, or how do they start?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can reach out to us at hello@explority.com. Okay. We'd love to talk with any and all vendors. So that can include student tour operators, hotels, attractions, different things like that are marketing to the educational sector and to educators. Absolutely.
Cool. Yeah, I can see a lot of demand for that for sure. So cool. Well, we got a couple minutes left. So at this point, we're going to invite one of our absolute favorite people, the founder of the Bourbon Friday event himself, Eric. And Eric is going to tell us a little bit about the that we're drinking today.
Sure. So this is Defiance. And I thought something that you don't really run into in the startup community is these family-owned businesses. Well, of course, in whiskey and bourbon, it's all family-owned. I mean, you have the Beams, you have Stag, all these things. Decided to go a little bit closer to home here. So Defiance Whiskey was started by Daniel Fort and his father Garth, and out like in the St. Louis area. Defiance, sort of the idea was, there's a lot of great whiskeys out there, but we want to do our own. So it's Defiance. It's also the name of a town outside of St. Louis. So it's a high rye whiskey. It means it's a little bit spicier. So.
Very nice. Yeah, I like it. I mean, I think we've tried this before.
We have.
They've been through T-Rex at least once or twice.
Yeah. He Daniel is a really great guy. He will come out and probably doesn't want to say this, but if you ask him, he'll probably come to your event and pour some whiskey for you.
Oh, okay. Cool. Well, we'll keep that in mind. We'll have to have him on the show here in a couple of weeks or something. So we got a couple minutes, or about 1 minute left, Eric. So do you have any updates for us, at least on Bourbon Friday or anything else going on?
Sure. So as always, as we said before, if you want to come to Bourbon Friday, you just go to facebook.com/Bourbon Friday, like the page, and we'll get you an invite. We'll also probably over the next couple weeks be streamlining the invitation process and the sign-in process here, just to make it a little bit easier for people.
Sure.
Also, next week, don't forget, we had Matt Panetti on here. Global Hacks is next week. If you want to go sign up for Global Hacks, basically the biggest hackathon in the area, go to globalhack.org, sign up for that. Last week we had Jeff Mazer from Launch Code.
Yep.
Their Geek Gala party is, I believe, on the 11th. Go and join that. Learn more about Launch Code. Meet the people that are working at Launch Code and the students that are there. I will also be at that party.
There you go. All right. Well, if you want to hang out with Eric, you know where to go for the next couple of weeks. Cool. Well, that kind of brings us to the end of the show. So I do want to thank both Eric and Alon for joining us. Thanks for coming on the show this week. As you know, we do go live every Friday at 4:30 here at T-Rex. We definitely want to thank T-Rex for hosting us. And also thank you to EQ for streaming our show through their Facebook page every single week. We definitely appreciate that. My name is Nick Niehaus. My producer is Vanessa Lobo. We're both with Connect Marketing, and we'd like to thank you for tuning in this week. So again, tune in every Friday at 4:30 for the Bourbon Friday Show, and thanks for watching us today.